another episode of Routes Through Pokemon Adventures. I'm Shayalock.
I'm Ruby.
And together we are a father-daughter team journeying through the mainline series of video games, the Pokemon anime, and the Pokemon Adventures manga. And this week we are on Gold and Silver, Part 7, where we will be covering one chapter of the manga, Chapter 104 of Volume 9, the Ariados Up There. And then we have 5 episodes of the anime, which are Season 3, Episodes 35 through 39. But before we get all into that, let's catch up on where we are in other realms of Pokemon and life. Alright, so, no more Pokemon Horizon so far. Not even Turtles. We've had a few different things going on. Some people over and whatever, so it's been a interesting couple weeks. Pokemon Go's been fun, though. Zamazenta's out there at the moment. I've got a handful. One of them ran away from me. And I still haven't found my shiny yet, unfortunately, like I have for Zacian. But we also have the Master Ball quest stuff going, so that's kind of cool. I like having more Master Balls. I've been looking for the Galarian birds more purposefully, especially now that I see that I want Master Balls not for the Galarian birds themselves, but the shiny versions, because those are out now and going to be really hard to come by. And just today, I believe, my Galarian research reactivated, because there's 19 steps or something. I don't know how many there was. There's a bunch, though. And I already did a ton of them, and I got to the point where the professor wasn't ready to give me more yet. Mm-hmm. You know how that happens?
Yeah.
But it just reactivated, so I have more to get through. Hopefully tomorrow I'll finish the step I'm on, because I need one more grunt, and then I haven't been around Pokestops today, so I will be tomorrow.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Going to work? I finally got some of this Galarian starters in Dynamax stuff. I think I got a couple of Score Bunnies and a Sobble. I haven't found Grookey yet that I've been able to hit. So, I mean, that's been fun. I saw that there's now an electric thing happening in the middle of this month where certain Pokemon have an increased shiny rate, it sounds like. And that includes Minoon and Plusly, which I actually have a couple of shiny Pluslys from forever ago and one Minoon, I think. So those are things I need to really find super badly. But one of the ones is one I've actually been looking for a while is Magnemite. Will have increased shiny rate, because I keep clicking on Magnemites hoping to find a shiny one, because I'm interested to see what it looks like. And once again, sure, I could Google it, but I just want to find it.
I'll probably find it before you if I look.
It's possible.
I got the Wooloo. Have you gotten a black Wooloo yet?
No, I still keep clicking on them. No Wooloo. Ooh, during the electric thing, I need to do some more team-ups, party, because I think I need to catch some more electric
I'll party
Pokemon.
With you.
Sounds good. We'll have to do that. Anyway, anything else you can think of? There's been no more Scarlet and Violet for us right now. With school and everything, it's a little bit busier, so we use what downtime we have to watch some of our anime episodes we need for the show and play some more Gold and Silver so we can record that for the show. So we've been a little busy on the recording side of things along with school and everything. Can you think of anything?
Nope, not a thing.
So yeah, not a whole lot of updates for now, but that's where we're at. And now I think we can start jumping into the manga and anime.
Yahoo!
So we will start with Manga Volume 9, Chapter 104, The Ariados Up There, which is a continuation from where we left off last time with...
The Ariados down there?
No, with the Hour of the Houndour, I think. No, that was the anime. You're nothing but a Houndour. I think that was the manga chapter.
Lots of Houndour last time?
Yes, there was. But Houndour is still in this one, too, because it turned out that these 4 Pokemon, Ghastly, Ariados...
Houndour and Delibird?
Houndour and Delibird, thank you, are belonging to some creepy masked person. And so we continue on Gold's adventure in Ilex Forest, trying to protect the guy in his Farfetch'd and dealing with this creepy dude. So, Gold is kind of freaked out and thinks maybe he should just be getting out of Dodge, as in get out of this place.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't just leave the Farfetch'd and the guy behind.
What did you expect Gold to do? Actually run?
Yes, he does follow the hero, the typical hero things, where he's not gonna just leave people behind. But then he claims he's going to run, but then launches into an attack. Because he's trying to trick the guy. He tried to get Aibo to pull the mask off, and then he also confirms that the guy used Ghastly to control the Farfetch'd trainer, because it wasn't really confirmed necessarily, but he got that figured out then. I think the guy says it or something. Then Masked Man is using Ghastly to make others So what the Masked Man is doing is he's using the ghastly to possess people to make them keep other people out of the forest. Because he doesn't want anybody in the forest. He's the one who keeps saying, get out of the forest, stay away from the forest.
Mm-hmm.
So Gold vanishes as things get intense with the battle, but the man knows he's hiding in a tree somewhere, and so he uses Ariados. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, by the way, everyone. It's the evolution of Spinnerack. That's all I can tell you. I know I'm pretty sure the R part is going to come from arachnid, like a spider, but I don't know. So he uses Ariados to lay out webs everywhere, and Houndour and Delibird start using Headbutt on the trees. I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Since we had gotten just because we got the Headbutt move, and so they're doing that too, to knock things out of trees.
Oh, yeah. Because we're headbutting stupid Spearow from the trees.
So Gold wonders why a person... I love that Spearow has become your new enemy.
Yeah, Bellsprout's a sweet little guy.
Gold wonders why a person with that kind of power is hiding in a forest. Then the Masked Man sees a light coming from the shrine. So he decides to forget all about the boy because he can't let this chance slip away. And it had me wondering, and I'm sure everybody who reads it, chance at what? What's he looking for? What does this mean? What does the glowing shrine do? What is the shrine for? It doesn't do anything so far in our game.
Now, with my natural curiosity, I didn't care. I was like, psh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever. But before he can get to the shrine, Gold falls out of the tree. Only it wasn't Gold, and instead it's just his jacket that Ariados snatches, thinking it is him. Gold comes up from behind and tries a move, only to get himself webbed up by Ariados anyway, because he can shoot from behind as well.
I mean, yeah, obviously you can shoot from behind. Spiders shoot from their butt.
Yeah, but so far it was shooting from the front and stuff, like the Caterpies and all that stuff do, right? Like, this doesn't always follow the normal biological features of actual creatures. Then the Masked Man sees that the shrine has gone dark again. Another chance lost. Which means this is probably why Masked Man is here in the forest in the first place and why he keeps everybody out. Because he's obviously suggested he's missed a chance before as well. At least once.
Well, yeah, another chance lost. Another. Once again we wait, is what he says.
Yeah. Yep. So this has at least happened one time for him. But this one he blames on the Fool, Gold. Actually, that's kind of funny. Fool, Gold, Fool's Gold. Have you ever heard of Fool's Gold?
Yes. Yes, I have. I've learned a lot about it.
Nice. So Masked Man starts to leave, and Gold tries to tell him he can't just quit in the middle of a battle. Masked Man says that Gold isn't as good as the last person he fought. Some boy with a crocodile. Nah, obviously this doesn't sit well with Gold. But it's time to get out of the creepy woods, and his Pokemon are sad because they failed. So Gold promises them they'll get a rematch, and they will win next time. Then he carries the Farfetch'd guy out of the forest, while Expo carries Farfetch'd. Gold is at the Pokemon Center and talking to Elm, I think. And he sent a sample of gold that was all... No, he sent a sample of actual gold something. So gold colored.
He didn't, cut off his finger or something and send it to him? Is that him saying
No, he didn't. He's not sending a sample of himself.
I guess it would make more sense to get a little piece of his hair or something.
Right? So I was like, why did we jump to finger cutting?
Well, he probably likes his hair.
Oh, that's true.
So...
He might be more willing to cut off a finger. That's true. Weirdo. So he sends a sample of some gold material that was all over Aibo's tail, or some gold-like substance or something.
Why do you say Aibo? It's Abo.
I don't know.
That's what you've been saying, too, Abo. I know this chapter you've started saying Aibo.
Well, AI is often I, too, so I don't know. Anyway, over Aibo's tail, and possibly came from under the Masked Man's cape. So this Masked Man has some kind of gold something underneath his cape. And that's why I sent the sample to Elm to maybe, investigate this.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Gold is annoyed that the Croconaut person must be silver and that the Masked Man thinks he's better than Gold. And I think this might be the first time he learns that Totodile evolved as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also annoying to him. Meanwhile, Silver is getting a communication on his watch from someone, again, who tells him to continue his surveillance on the Masked Man, and that the Masked Man failed to obtain the light from the shrine. So, Silver is supposed to be keeping an eye on this creep, and it seems like Masked Man is probably not a good guy, and is definitely after whatever's in the shrine, which means that Silver might not be such a bad person.
Also, the person telling him that still looks like green. Because I still think it's green because remember at the end of the last,
Yeah, no,
series?
we definitely assume it's green, but is there a silhouette or something in this one?
Yes, there's a silhouette, but it's very unclear and it could be... My first, when you look at it, if we had no context, it'd be like, that's Sabrina, but
Anyway, all this thing with the Masked Man and the shrine and Silver's communications all getting very interesting, but that's where we end, so to be continued. And then we go to the anime! So, we start with episode 153, or season 3, 35. The Totodile Duel, or Waninoko wa Dare no Mono, Satoshi tai Kasumi. Whose Waninoko is it? Satoshi versus Kasumi. And if you remember, Satoshi is Ash, and Kasumi is Misty. And we have to assume that...
this is that one!
So we have to assume that Waninoko is Totodile.
So maybe we'll get a Totodile this episode.
Somebody will. But will it be Satoshi or Kasumi?
Kasumi! Which one's Kasumi?
Misty!
Dang it!
I just said that before. Satoshi, you knew Satoshi was Ash. We talked about this multiple times.
We talk about a lot. We talk about Marvel Champions. We talk about Marvel United. We talk about Title Blades. We talk about just Marvel movies. We talk about so much.
Sounds like a lot of Marvel.
Yes, there's a lot. There's a lot of Marvel and Pokemon in my life.
Such a sad life.
I didn't say it was sad.
Anyway, so we start off with the gang sitting and fishing, and they haven't caught anything. Misty has something on the line and is having trouble getting it. Then a Totodile is peeking from some bushes.
Well, before the Totodile peeks from the bushes, when they're sitting there, the other two are whining about having to be patient or whatever. And Misty's like, just be patient while we fish. Because she likes fishing and they do not.
Which is also why I don't like fishing. I don't care about the results of fishing, and I don't like sitting there waiting for a result that I don't care about. So, Misty gets a tea kettle from her fishing. And Brock suggests throwing it back and seeing if she can get a coffee maker instead. I thought that was just funny. He's like, ooh, we don't really need that, but see if you can get a coffee maker. Misty is a bit fanatical during her fishing.
What's fanatical mean?
She's a fanatic, a super fan, basically, just crazy about her fishing.
Well, she loves fishing. She loves water Pokemon, and that's apparently how you catch water Pokemon is by fishing.
And she has even her own special lures, which we learned before in the Golduck episode, way back, when she was talking about lures with that other girl. And she even has one that looks like her. So then Totodile pops up on a rock in the middle of the water and starts dancing around and almost taunting everybody. At least that's what it seemed like to me.
Well, really, to me, it's just like, oh, look, he's having fun. That's nice.
Well, as we get to learn more about Totodile, I've learned that is just what he does. He just loves to dance.
I suppose. But I just thought he would look like he was having the time of his... very split second first, it looks like he's, one of those people who has fun, but it's I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, you didn't explain that at all. You'll have the important pieces.
I don't know how to say the important pieces. But, one of those people who's, not, who's just fun all the time, but, teasing fun and that kind of thing. I don't know, like that. And that was my first impression, but very split second, but then I'm like, no, he's just having fun.
He's just a jolly Pokemon. Yep. He's super happy looking all the time, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, Misty plans to get it. I mean, it's a water Pokemon, right?
Right.
But so does Ash.
And I'm like, seriously, Ash, water type. But then I'm like,
well, yes, Squirtle.
Well, yes.
So then Minnie tosses her mini Misty lure thing into the Totodile's mouth, but he just spits it out. And she praised this thing. She's like, this is the best lure ever, right?
Yeah.
Supposed to get anything. So she thought she was onto something by tossing it there, and then he just spit it out. Ash ends up zapping Totodile with Pikachu and throws a Pokeball, but it breaks out. But, to be fair, at this point, Ash is the only one who's done anything that you're supposed to do to try to catch one. He heard it and then threw a Pokeball.
Yes.
Misty tries a Pokeball, but Totodile just water guns it away, so he doesn't even break out of that one because it never hits him. And then the Totodile tries to make friends with Pikachu. Misty abandons Togepi with Brock and tells him to watch after it, while her and Ash chase Totodile, racing to catch it. And suddenly I was having flashbacks to a specific episode called Who Gets to Keep Togepi. And I was thinking that I don't want Misty to get this because she already has a Pokemon she's not supposed to have and now is just leaving it in the care of somebody else who also wanted it and actually did more work to have it than Misty did. Granted, he wasn't given permission to do that, so it wasn't a legal claim or a rightful claim.
Neither of them are rightful.
But Misty's worse. So, the fact that she's just onto something new, she's like, ooh, new water Pokemon. See ya, Togepi. Was annoying.
Well, when she says take care of him, I mean, first of all, at least she has someone taking care of him.
That is a little bit better.
But, like, with Totodile, I think my original thought is Misty should get it. It's water type. Come on, back off, Ash. But then I'm like, but since you have Togepi, I think Ash should get it.
Yep. Also, he got the 3 starters last time, so he needs to get the 3 starters this time. And he already has 2 of them. This is the last one.
I think it should be Misty. Well, now I think it should be Ash's for other reasons, but still.
Yeah. So, yeah. Her and Ash chase Totodile, racing to catch it. And Brock decides to go after them because they're going to need a referee. Then Team Rocket is out eating near the water, and during their convo, they break out into a modified motto, which was kind of fun. Because they're not, like, talking to the group. They're just doing their own rendition of the motto for themselves.
Yeah, and I was so excited to have a modified motto, not just a interesting intro.
So, it kind of starts off in the middle, I think. But it goes...
We're Team Rocket messing up at the speed of light.
We may mess up, but we do it right. So it was an amusing conversation about them messing up in new ways, since Meowth is concerned they'll be given the boot if they keep messing up the way they always do. Because it was something like, we mess up, and we're just going to mess up like we always do, meaning that they always mess up. But he takes it as, we need to mess up in a different way.
Yep.
Which I thought was just ridiculous and hilarious. So then Totodile shows up while they're celebrating their failures. Team Rocket is. And then Totodile eats the food that they were offering Meowth. And Meowth decides that they have to capture Totodile. It doesn't go well, and they end up blasting off already! Ding! Misty and Ash find Totodile, and Misty grabs the lure ball to use, and so Ash decides to try to use the same thing.
Yeah, she's like, now I'm going to use my lure ball, and he's like, oh, me too. I'm like, it was her idea. Back off.
Yep.
But then again, the whole Togepi situation, so...
And only one of them has actually weakened the Pokemon so far.
I mean, sure, but this is how you catch water Pokemon.
You still have to weaken them.
I mean, yeah.
It just has a better chance with the lure ball. If Ash had started with the lure ball instead of the regular Pokeball, he'd probably already have it.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't think. Misty thinks. Like she thought that someone should take care of Togepi.
Totodile's having a blast, and he dives behind the bushes with the Pokeballs and is captured in one of them. Because we see both Pokeballs fly over there, and then they disappear behind the bushes along with him, and he gets caught in one of them. And you don't know which. So Brock takes it, and lets the two have a... So he takes the Pokeball that has Totodile in it, and lets Misty and Ash have a Pokemon battle to decide who gets the Totodile. You know, the same kind of battle that Ash won before, and so he should have Togepi. And he shouldn't have even had a battle in the first place.
Yes. But, I think Ash does have an unfair advantage with battles because he's, like, gets all the practice and everything.
I mean, it's not like they couldn't practice if they wanted to.
I mean, sure, but he's the one pursuing to be a Pokemon Master. So, I was okay with it for Togepi because I'm like, it should belong to him. Yeah, he should do the battles or whatever.
Yeah.
Because he has the advantage, but it's his Pokemon. But now that, like, it's... I agree with Totodile because he should have had Togepi, but I don't think they should battle for things because Ash has an unfair advantage.
I think that's a bunch of crap.
How rude.
You know why?
Why?
Because there's always going to be somebody better at something. That's the whole point of a battle, to claim something, right? And it's not like Misty can't be practicing and trying and even doing the gym battles if she wants to. It's her choice. She has chosen to be in that position, and that is, in the world of Pokemon battles is a major part of life. So if you want to be able to win those things, you need to practice and be good at it. And she already has kind of an unfair advantage because, like, at the Cerulean Gym, which she claims that he would have lost, which is the stupidest claim, Pikachu once again won battle. And this time it's not because he doesn't want to battle Misty, but it's because she starts with Togepi.
Yeah. Okay, I like this part. It was funny.
So, And of course he chose Pikachu because Misty, quote unquote, only has water Pokemon. So, piece of cake, right?
Yeah.
But Pikachu doesn't want to hurt Togepi because Pikachu has spent so much time protecting Togepi from all the harm he's almost ended up because Misty isn't paying any freaking attention. So Big Brother Pikachu won't do anything.
So does it count as a Big Brother Pikachu?
What?
Weren't we counting Big Brother Pikachu or something as a tally?
I don't have it as a tally, should we? I mean, we probably should, I guess. I don't know.
I thought we were counting it. Okay, if we weren't, that's fine.
I think that's actually a great idea. We should count that. I will add that to my list.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't think he's not really had a Big Brother moment in this season at all, I don't think. He had a few of them in the first season. First and second season or whatever. Alright. So yeah, we'll keep an eye and see if he does more.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought that was a tally.
Big Brother Pikachu. And actually, because he might end up being a big brother or like a friend, like a brother to other Pokemon too. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that, I guess. So.
Oh yeah, just Big Brother Pikachu, not Togepi's brother Pikachu.
Correct.
Brother.
So I kind of like this idea. We'll keep an eye on that.
Okay.
All right. So yes, we have a Big Brother Pikachu moment because he won't hurt Togepi, and Togepi goes for a giant hug attack and wins.
Yeah.
So now it is Chikorita versus Staryu, because Chikorita also has type advantage against water type. Ha! And Chikorita wins. And like they like to do in these events, they constantly switch out their Pokemon even if it won and can do more battle.
Yeah, it's Dwayne.
So now it is Bulbasaur versus Poliwag. Meanwhile, Team Rocket is riding a log down a river hoping they never run into Totodile again. But Meowth wants to get it to catch it so they can get in good with the boss.
I think it'll take more than that to get in good with their boss.
And if they had a success though, that would be like, whoa, maybe. You know?
Yeah, I suppose.
The log crashes into a rock and they find the twerps battling. Meowth wants to wait for the battle to have the twerps and Pokemon all pooped out, and then they can take Pikachu. Poliwag is defeated, but then wait, no, it evolves into Poliwhirl! And this is another thing I want to add that I forgot to write on my paper here. Evolutions.
Oh, I can see evolution.
I don't know what to call it yet, but evolutions. Because it's always exciting to see a Pokemon evolve in the show, so. So yeah, I want to tally those as well. I'm wondering, does this also count as a gotta catch 'em all?
Well, you're not catching a new Pokemon.
True, but in the game, when it says how many you've caught, that includes your evolutions. And that's how they get these Pokemon most of the time, except for Ash, who likes to catch middle stage flying Pokemon, as we'll see again later.
I don't know. Well, at first I'm like against it, but like I guess I could see it.
Because they're never going to catch Weezing and Arbok, right? That they evolved them.
I mean, yeah.
And it does count in the game as a caught Pokemon then. But if we're counting evolutions as their own thing as well, do we need to double up on that?
And like counting two things at once for things seems a little...
Well, here's the argument that it's okay though, because we do have evolutions with people that do not, with Pokemon that aren't theirs. Like I'm thinking, for example, Seal into Dugong.
Okay.
Right, that didn't belong to Misty or the gang or Team Rocket, right? But it did evolve, and we got to see it.
That's fair.
So they're not always together. Evolution doesn't always mean new caught Pokemon.
Not always, but most of the time.
Okay, so maybe we don't count that. We just catching new Pokemon.
I don't know. I guess maybe.
All right. Well, we'll think about it.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. All right. So Bulbasaur did win, sort of, but then it evolved into Poliwhirl and still seemed to be alive and have some strength to it. So Bulbasaur starts charging up a Solar Beam, and Poliwhirl starts pummeling with the bubble. And so so it's more of a like, will Poliwhirl's a bunch of bubble attacks constantly going beat Bulbasaur before he can pull off his charged up Solar Beam?
I was like, no way. There's no way.
No, there isn't a way. It isn't enough, and Bulbasaur wins! Then Ash is about to announce his victory until a disguised Jesse and James show up.
What was their disguise this time? Probably something pathetic.
I don't remember, actually. I didn't write it down. I have no recollection exactly what they disguised themselves as. But they sneak in their disguise, but not long after that, they reveal themselves. Oh, that's right. So they get in there, but then Team Rocket is revealed by Wobbuffet.
Wobbuffet!
Showing up and revealing who they are, basically. And so then they give us an interesting intro.
Don't be distressed, just prepare for trouble.
when I get out of this dress, you better make it double.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Oh, they were dressed like little, like almost like pilgrim-y type people or something, weren't they?
This episode, maybe. I don't remember for sure, but that seems a little off.
Like I'm imagining like James with like the little headscarf on in the dress.
But I felt like he was in a different dress.
He might have been. I could be wrong.
That looked more of like a dressier dress. I don't know.
Anyway.
They were dressed up in something.
His thing was hilarious.
Yes. Once I get out of this dress, I was like, dying.
But then we get an irritating interruption with Wobbuffet again, as it tries to say Wobbuffet or cuts into the middle of it with Meowth trying to say that's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a vanity moment as Totodile starts chewing off some of Jessie's hair.
Finally, another vanity.
Because Ash tosses in Totodile, and he just like automatically clamps onto her hair. So her hair just must be very appealing to all Totodile. Because that's what the first one did too.
Oh, yeah.
But this one ends up chewing off part of it, which is even funnier.
Yeah.
And of course, Totodile is having a blast.
He just thinks everyone's there to play with him.
Yeah, he's just playing with everyone. But then Team Rocket ends up blasting off again.
Ding.
And now the gang is able to start their way to Goldenrod. Uh-huh, sure you are.
Wait, at one point, Misty also was talking to Ash, and she's like, you know what, I don't care that you won Totodile.
Oh,
and Brock and Ash are like, oh, that's very mature of you, Misty. She's like, why would I want a stinky old Totodile when I can just have my amazing Poliwhirl who evolved just for me?
Yeah, but it sounds like she's just trying to make herself happy about the situation, honestly.
Oh, to me it sounded like she was just
like, I'm just going to talk down about yours since I can't have it, and I get my new Poliwhirl. I mean, I'm sure she's
bragging.
Right. I'm sure she's excited about her Poliwhirl, but a lot of times people do brag and put down something else because they don't get to have it. So they're like, well, I didn't want that stupid thing anyway. Like Gold. Remember Gold in the manga with the Pokedex? He was like getting all after Oak, saying, you need to give me a Pokedex. And he's like, no, you're not ready for one. He's like, psh, wouldn't need one anyway. They're stupid.
Yeah.
So it sounded kind of like that to me. Misty can be very petty, as we've seen.
Yes.
Yeah, then they say they're they can finally go on their way to Goldenrod, but we still have plenty of episodes before they're at Goldenrod, and a movie.
And the movie. They, don't like to go to the actual towns. It's so weird.
Now,
crazy kooks.
I would have liked this episode even more if Ash won, or if Misty won instead, but then the Totodile listened to Ash. Because he actually caught it as Pokeball or something.
I'm sure you would have liked it more if that was.
Because then it would have really been like a flip of the whole Togepi thing. Because he won, but then it ended up with her. So if she won, but then it ended up with him because it was his Pokeball, that would have been nice. And supposedly, I've read this somewhere, so it might not be accurate. I haven't tried it myself. But if you watch the episode scene where they're throwing the Pokeballs in slow motion, like make it real slow.
Okay.
Ash's ball is the one that connects with Totodile.
You can't see which one touches Totodile.
That's what I thought. But supposedly you can.
Okay, I'm gonna try this out and see what happens.
Well, we'll do that later.
It sounds like people just trying to make themselves feel.
It did sound like that to me. But I want to point it out that it was something that was a trivia piece that was mentioned. So then, our Who's That Pokemon this episode is Pichu!
I'm so excited to see Pichu!
Which we won't until the movie.
Well, till the short before the movie.
Correct. Okay, so now our tallies. So we have a modified motto, when they kind of modified their motto when they were talking to themselves about screwing up and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We had a we're off again because they're blasting off already.
Mm-hmm.
We got at least one gotta catch 'em all. We have to kind of decide on if we're going to count the other thing, the evolution, as a gotta catch 'em all because it's a new Pokemon.
I don't know. I think that's kind of up to you. If you want to count it, we can count it, but I don't know.
Alright. I haven't decided. Interesting intro, which we've read for you. We had Vanity with Totodile chewing off Jessie's hair, and an irritating interruption. And then we also had Big Brother Pikachu and an evolution. Yay!
Woohoo.
Alright. You know what? I think I will count the Gotta Catch 'em all, just because the game counts it as caught. So we have 2 Gotta Catch 'em all.
Okay.
And then it's rating time.
I think I'm going to start because it's not the hardest one to start on, and I hate when I get the harder ones to start on.
Sounds good.
Well, I kind of liked it. It was pretty good. Like, it wasn't like an amazing episode, but it was pretty good. Below fighting fire with fire.
Okay.
Do you have any input?
Well, I really thought all the return of a lot of characters, 2 characters, and then Pokemon in the firing squad was so excellent that I would have a hard time putting it above that one.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Now, Chikorita's Big Upset, it's pretty good, but also Tanks a Lot was very amusing, which is the one right underneath that. With the Togepi and Centret antics, so I could definitely see it being somewhere in there, maybe.
Togepi and
the Arbo tank.
Oh yeah, and Tanks a Lot. I think it could go below that.
Okay, what about Snubble Snobbery then? Do you think it's better than Snubble Snobbery? I mean, it gave a Snubble, but
Yeah, Snubble Snobbery wasn't that amazing of an episode.
right, and I felt like it retread a lot of ground that the James Rich episode did, but not as good because it was about a Snubble getting married, so it wasn't as interesting, especially since they didn't give us more backstory, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun episode, and the whole Meowth angle with Snubble was hilarious, and the potential of Snubble returning was fantastic, but...
Yeah, that episode wasn't actually as amazing at all, really.
So, between Tanks a Lot and Snubble Snobbery?
Sure, let's go with that.
Season 3, Episode 36. Hot Matches, or Imudo Tai Hinorashi Hagane no Tsubasa, or Ermed? That's not right. I don't know what that first one's supposed to be. Versus Hinorashi. Wings of Steel.
I'm gonna go with, like, Armadou or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it has something to do with being in the air, I'm guessing. And yes, it is Skarmory, in case you didn't know.
Wait, what's Skarmory?
Ermed. Ermed is Skarmory.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be, like, Armadou or something.
Well, I'm guessing Ermed is supposed to be a mix of the air, obviously, and being armed.
Oh.
Like a weapon.
Which
is kind of where Skarmory comes from. I'm not actually where the SK part comes from, but armory, like as in a store of weapons.
Cool.
And then Hinorashi.
Ew.
Cyndaquil. Cyndaquil's Hinorashi.
Oh, that makes sense.
Alright, so we'll be meeting a new Pokemon, but we're also getting a new type that we haven't really featured before. Now, Pokemon we've seen before gained this type, I think, by when this type was introduced, but it didn't exist yet in Kanto, so they weren't Steel then. But we now have Steel type being introduced in the anime, and we already had it show up in the manga with Skarmory again. They used Skarmory to introduce it.
I wonder if they're gonna use Skarmory in the game to introduce.
Yeah, because we haven't really run into any Steel Pokemon, have we? I don't think we have. We got Hoots and Geodudes and Onix and Machop and Ghastly and a lot of bugs, grasses, rocks, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know if we've run into them. Anyway, coming out of a Pokemon Center, a kid runs into Ash while carrying his Growlithe. He fought a trainer, and it didn't go well. But Ash is excited to try and battle this trainer.
Because he's sure he will win, because he's very good.
I should clarify, the gang is coming out of the Pokemon Center, and the kid is rushing in and runs into Ash.
It definitely sounded like it was the other way.
I realized that, so I thought I'd clarify that. So then the gang walk off to go find this trainer up in like the mountains or something. I forget where they were. I know they have to climb up somewhere. I mean, they don't like literally rock climb, but
they're up on a mountain.
Yeah. But as they walk by, Team Rocket is hiding in the bushes, and here they're off to battle. So they will wait for them to be weak, just like they thought they would do last episode. So they're trying the same plan again. See, they are messing up in new ways.
I mean, it's smart if you could actually execute it.
Mm-hmm.
Execute. I'm funny.
So they cross a bridge to find the trainer, and I was like, oh, a bridge. Are we going to get another broken bridge? Spoilers, we don't. But anyway, they cross a bridge to find the trainer, and it turns out to be a girl for Brock to decide to get ridiculous over. So yeah, Brock goes over and warns this girl that there's a tough trainer up there somewhere, and then the girl, of course, challenges him to a battle because she is the
I knew
trainer.
that. I'm like, she's the tough trainer. Don't be an idiot.
And her voice sounded familiar, and I couldn't, I thought we had run into it before. I don't know if it was like Casey or something, but she did sound familiar to me. So then she sends out Skarmory, and then we get info on Steel-type Pokemon. And she wants it to fight Fire types, since Steel is weak to Fire.
Because she wants a challenge.
And, well, she wants her Skarmory to be tough against even the Fire types, even though it's normally weak. So Team Rocket wants to steal the Steel-type Pokemon. Ha ha ha. Brock is using Vulpix for the battle, because that's his Fire Pokemon that he has. And Skarmory wins.
Shocker.
So Ash offers to use Cyndaquil to battle. And of course, he's super confident.
Mm-hmm.
Cyndaquil does his typical dodging while he works to heat up, but then Cyndaquil starts getting beat up. But he finally does get his fire going, and Skarmory uses Swift Attack, and it comes too fast for Cyndaquil to get the fire off right away. But before the battle can be finished, Mech Arms snatch up Skarmory and Cyndaquil. And Team Rocket gives us an interesting intro.
It's too late. Prepare for trouble.
We caught them both and made it double! And it all ends with Wobbuffet's typical irritating interruption that he's been doing for the last string of episodes. Poor Meowth.
I don't like Meowth all that much.
Skarmory falls and Brock catches it and is crushed under the weight of it.
He might have broke the fall, but Skarmory broke his bones.
Yeah, right? We'll chalk this up to one of the times Brock should be dead. So Team Rocket still has Cyndaquil, and so then they have to chase down Team Rocket, and Skarmory shows up to help, because the rest are on the ground running after him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cyndaquil is freed, and Team Rocket is sent blasting off again!
Ding!
And then the girl, her name was like Mickey or Miki or something like that.
Mickey, I think that's right.
Yeah. She thanks Brock for his food, because he makes some food for them all. And so Brock says he can make romantic meals all the time if she comes with them on their journey. And so Misty has to get to babysitting Brock again.
Yeah. Because the girl's obviously like, no thanks.
Right.
Go away, you creepy weirdo.
Learning some of Mickey's training techniques sends Ash off to give Cyndaquil some exercise.
Yeah, like the next morning, super early.
Yeah, they get up super early and leave. And so they're running up a mountain, and he has Cyndaquil use Tackle on Ash, and then while Ash is training, the rest of the gang and Mickey are hanging out and eating back at the little cabin area they were hanging out in. I think it was a cabin, right? They weren't just camping.
I think it was a cabin,
Yeah.
And when he starts doing this, I was hoping that this wouldn't super annoy me, because I was pretty sure that they were going to have a rematch or whatever as soon as they got snatched up. But I'm like, they better not rematch, and then Ash wins, because he did one day of her training that she's been doing for a long time. I'm like, if he wins, I'm going to be so annoyed.
I don't think it seemed fine, like a fine concept to me, because she's trying to get her Skarmory to get around fire Pokemon, and so he still has an advantage, so also getting him...
With how easy? No. I would have been very annoyed.
While training, Ash finds some apples in a tree and starts picking them, which ends up upsetting a swarm of Beedrill. They run, and then Cyndaquil gets fired up and shoots flames to scare the Beedrill away, which actually would work very well. Fire attack and all. So now Ash is throwing sticks as targets for Cyndaquil to blast with fire. And here, Ash is specifically training Cyndaquil to target something that is moving around the sky quickly. And these are sticks, which are smaller than Skarmory. So he's focused on training to defeat a very specific kind of opponent.
Nope, I'm still going to be annoyed.
Okay.
I might understand it a bit more, but I'll still be annoyed.
Back at the little cabin, we see Mickey taking good care of Skarmory. Then Ash returns. So Ash wants a rematch with Cyndaquil versus Skarmory. Cyndaquil is on fire right away this time, which is a significant improvement from the first battle. So the match becomes much more interesting, because that was part of the problem last time. Cyndaquil got so exhausted dodging and stuff while it had to heat up, but he's already been through training today, so he's all fired up.
Oh, the training, though, made it so he could fire up right away.
Sure. But nonetheless, this is a very important shift in the battle.
Well, yes, but I'm still going to be annoyed.
So, well, here's the thing, though. This suggests that Cyndaquil might have even had a chance the first time, if he could have been fired up right away. This is a significant weight in that category. So now, if you're still throwing difficulty, I think it's more out of stubbornness.
Well, maybe it could go either way, but still, come on. Skarmory is such a strong Pokemon.
We don't even know that. We haven't played with Skarmory.
But it tells us how strong and the training they've been through and everything.
Mm.
Because she's been training her Skarmory specifically to defeat fire Pokemon, and she's obviously had practice. She killed that Growlithe.
Didn't kill the Growlithe. So Cyndaquil impresses people by taking 2 Steel Wing attacks and wants to keep going. Now both Pokemon end up pretty beat up and tired, and Cyndaquil pulls out a victory!
Wait, Cyndaquil won?
Yeah, and this was a good training Pokemon moment for Ash.
Wait, seriously, Cyndaquil actually won?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yes.
Seriously?
Well, I mean, you're flabbergasted. It started to make me doubt myself, but yes.
Are you sure Skarmory wasn't the one who won?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, now I'm still a little annoyed, but not as much annoyed, but I'm still a little.
That's why I kept making a case.
You make a case even if it doesn't matter.
That's true.
Okay.
And then our Who's That Pokemon this episode is Apom. And again, not the Pokemon we'll see next episode, but also a Pokemon we'll see in the movie. So we had our tally for this episode is interesting intro, an irritating interruption with Wobbuffet again, and babysitting Brock when he gets pulled away by his ear again after offering to make romantic dinners for Mickey. Now let's rank it. Alright, so this one, I enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was very solid, and I really liked seeing Ash do some real training again. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not annoyed by him winning, because there was a few different... Not only was there the training, and the specific training for a specific opponent, but that Cyndaquil started out on fire. And he still almost lost, but he did manage to pull out in the end.
I've accepted it. I'm not annoyed with it, but I'm not like...
But...
Oh, yes, yahoo, woohoo,
Totodile
yay.
Duel was so much more fun, because Totodile is just a blast and exudes joy, so I think it's less than that. Let's see. Yeah, I think... Let's go right under Don't Touch That Dial. So right above No Big Whoop.
Yeah, I think I'm good with that.
And then we move on to Season 3, Episode 37. Love, Totodile Style, or Odore Waninoko, I no Sutepu o, or Dance Waninoko, The Step of Love.
I am excited for this one.
Alright, so, the gang is stopping by a beach, and Misty takes out most her Pokemon to play in the water. Psyduck pops out on his own and almost drowns in a Psyduck sighting. Ash sends out Totodile, who then sees some Magikarp, and he starts juggling them with his water gun. Then Totodile finds an Azumarill with a pink bow on its tail.
Which suggests that it was the Meryl from the other episode, and I was so excited.
The Crybaby one, yeah, I thought so too, but it turns out it's not.
And I was like super duper annoyed.
Yeah. So Totodile is instantly in love and starts flirting, like creating a water gun heart and stuff like that.
Melly Brock.
Azumarill doesn't appreciate it and knocks Totodile down. Meanwhile, Brock is still making stew, and then the gang see a Golduck. Misty is about to catch it, but Brock is curious what the Golduck is doing, and they realize it is looking for something.
And when she was about to catch it, I'm like, make sure that it's not someone else's first. Just make sure.
Right? And then a very tall girl named Trixie shows up with a Pidgey on her shoulder. I thought that was cool. That adds some character to her that she carries the Pidgey on her shoulder. I don't know. She asks...
I think you like that kind of thing with like birds and...
Oh, I love animals on the shoulder. I don't know what it is, but I like it.
You should train a bird to sit on your shoulder. You could just train the cat.
Not this cat. I need a smaller cat.
No, you don't. Cat's... Fine, we'll get a smaller cat.
Yeah, a cat, or actually, if I had a falcon or something.
We're getting a falcon! It's our new pet!
Anyway, she asks if Golduck found it, and mentions that it hasn't ever been gone that long before. Brock instantly starts flirting like crazy, including doing like a whole thing where he spells out his name and has something to describe himself with each letter. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yes. And it was like Pokemon descriptions, like B for brave.
Like something.
Yeah, I don't know, B for brave or something. Something like that. Like he described himself like that.
Right. And Trixie seems very uncomfortable by it all. Like more so than a lot of the characters. They're just like, and I'm moving on. Whereas this one, she's like, creepy. I mean, she didn't say that, but she just looked very uncomfortable.
I mean, I would be very uncomfortable too.
Finally, Misty takes to babysitting Brock again and drags him off by his ear. Ash finds out that Trixie is looking for Azumarill, and then it shows up while they're talking about it. Azumarill seems upset about something, and it is because Totodile is following her. When Azumarill looks at Golduck, she blushes. Then the gang heads to a nearby town where Trixie has a circus set up, and Azumarill is her star, but she's been acting different ever since Golduck joined the circus.
And I'm like, come on, people, think it through. They're in love. Love!
Yeah, you're as smart as Misty in this episode. Alright, So Brock is working...
Wait, did Misty figure it out right away?
Yeah, she doesn't spell it out for anybody, but she definitely does. We'll get there in a second. Brock is working on helping set up for the show. He is still obsessed with Trixie. Totodile is also helping out and fills up the pool and puts Azumarill into it because, he's into Azumarill, so he wants to help set up the show too.
Mm-hmm.
Ash is curious as to what is up with Totodile being so weird, and Misty claims he'll understand when he's older and more mature, which suggests that Misty does kind of have an idea of what is going on around here. Like, she knows that Totodile's in love, but I think she figured out the other part too.
It's the love triangle.
So,
where one person always loses out.
I have to wonder, though, is this a one-track Ash moment, as he misses the signs of love again, which is usually what he misses with his one-track mind. Sometimes there's other things like envy and therapy that I think were Pokemon names. But like Misty has talked about, the most important thing is love, and he's like, nothing's more important than catching Pokemon.
Yeah, I think it could be a one-track Ash.
Okay. Then Brock pops in and says, Azumarill is playing hard to get, and Totodile shouldn't give up. And, suggesting Brock is older than Misty and Ash, she decides maybe she was wrong and Ash won't understand when he's older, since it seems Brock is a little out of touch himself.
Mm-hmm.
The circus show starts up, and Trixie performs magic tricks with a Meryl. Then Azumarill does some water gun juggling, which is kind of like what Totodile did, but this one's a lot more impressive than Totodile's, because there's a lot more things being juggled. And Totodile is infatuated, and so he rushes the stage and tries to join in.
Some people from the audience were chucking things so that Totodile could juggle some things and Azumarill could juggle some things.
So then Azumarill gets mad and drops everything and takes off, and Totodile chases. Brock decides to help Totodile to be successful in love, just like him.
Mm-hmm.
When have you been successful, Brock?
Well, I mean, Wilhelmina was kind of a success. Kind of.
Sort of.
They both had interest in each other.
This is true. Team Rocket caught the show, and so they want to steal Azumarill and Pikachu to start their own circus to become rich. Brock helps Totodile and gives him a gift to give to Azumarill.
Oh, yes, it was like food or something.
Yeah, but Azumarill doesn't take it and runs off. Then Team Rocket catches Azumarill in a net. Brock rushes in to try and help, and the rest of the gang arrive. Then, when Totodile fails to rescue Azumarill, Team Rocket gives us an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble, and that's not a joke.
Make it double. We just got a poke. And then they modify the end as well, which is fun.
Team Rocket blasts off at the speed of light.
Surrender now. We're in the spotlight. Ash sends him Pikachu, but then he's caught in an electric-proof ball cage, which was interesting. A little different than their usual capture. Then Weezing uses smokescreen to cover their getaway, and Totodile catches Azumarill's pink bow and angrily rushes off, swimming across the water. Team Rocket is trying to get Azumarill to perform some tricks while they're hanging out at like a cabin that they found in the woods again.
Oh, yes.
But it won't even at the threat of a whip. James tosses some balls and gets one whacked back into his face for his trouble. Azumarill then hits Jessie in the face with a water gun that gets her hair messed up, as well, in a vanity moment for Jessie.
Two vanities.
Team Rocket wants to deal harshly with Azumarill, but Meowth jumps in the way to keep it safe because they need it for a show, and Wobbuffet jumps in front of Meowth to also block the way.
Wobbuffet. I love Wobbuffet.
Yeah. So Team Rocket try feeding Azumarill a fabulous meal, but Azumarill won't eat. So Jessie and James are about to use force again, but they get hit by Totodile. But then its snout gets bound and he's tied up in a rope. While Team Rocket is sleeping, Azumarill is crying. Totodile gives her the bow back, and that cheers her up a little, along with Totodile's silly dancing. Dance the step of love. The next morning, Trixie has Pidgey look for the Team Rocket balloon, and Ash wishes he had Charizard. But why? You wouldn't have used him anyway.
That's fair.
Team Rocket decides the circus is a bust, but that Giovanni will reward them for their Pokemon stealing. The gang shows up, and Pidgey pops the balloon, Trixie's Pidgey, sending them crashing back down as they started to take off. Golduck is sent in and deals with Weezing and Arbok easily. Then Bulbasaur is sent in to break the cages of Totodile and Pikachu. Totodile water guns, Bulbasaur vine whips Azumarill's cage closer, and Pikachu zaps Team Rocket, sending them blasting off again!
Ding!
Bulbasaur frees Azumarill, and Totodile is super excited. Azumarill is excited too, and there's a romantic slow-mo run toward one another.
And I'm like, wait.
Yep.
No, it's not going to work.
Correct. Azumarill was running toward Golduck and runs right by Totodile, who is crushed.
I thought it was hilarious, but it's also like, poor Totodile.
Right?
I hate you, don't Golduck.
When it is time to leave, Brock is being ridiculous with Trixie, and Misty has to drag him off by his ear again in a second babysitting Brock moment. Then Totodile finds a Quagsire with a bow and falls in love with that Pokemon, which walks away from him. So, it seems Totodile is a Pokemon version of Brock.
Mm-hmm.
Our Who's That Pokemon this episode is Furret. And I don't think we see Furret in the movie.
I don't know.
Well, maybe we do. Maybe it's in the short as well, actually.
What's
There's a lot
Furret?
of Pokemon. Centret Evolution.
Oh, yes, there's
But it
a
looks-
bird in the...
Yeah, it's in the junkyard area, isn't it?
Yes.
Right on. So yes, we see Furret in the movie too. All these things are leading up to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our tally: Psyduck siding, because he breaks out of the Pokeball in the beginning and almost drowns. 2 babysitting Brocks, both with Trixie. 1 track Ash, because Ash doesn't understand Totodile is in love, when it's clearly obvious. Even Brock does understand it, he's just an idiot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting intro, which we've read for you, and also had a fun little ending to it. And Vanity, Vanity. Jessie complaining about her hair after Totodile hits her with water.
Now time for ranking.
Alright, so yeah, ranking.
It was a fun episode. I like how we have a Pokemon version of Brock. That
Yep.
was kind of cool.
Not the first time that we've had that claim.
Oh, really?
Golduck. It was so funny.
But that was with other girls.
Yes.
This is with
This is
other
with the girl Pokemon.
Like, I could see... It's a good episode. I mean, it's not, like, one of the best ones, in my opinion.
Do you think it was better than Totodile Duel? Where we got Totodile?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. But, I think it's probably actually right under that.
Okay, so between Totodile Duel and Snubble Snobbery?
Yes.
Alright, that sounds good to me. Alright, so now, Season 3, Episode 38. Foul play. And foul as in bird type stuff, not as in foul ball.
Mm-hmm.
Or, Irochigai no Yoru no Zuku Geto da Ze. Different colored Yoru no Zuku. I got it! Which means that Yoru no Zuku must be, spoilers, a Noctowl. So a different colored Noctowl.
Oh, yes. So, I'm like, what? Why'd you catch a Noctowl? What episode is?
And earlier I mentioned that he likes to catch the middle stage of some bird Pokemon. Well, the second stage, I guess, because Noctowl doesn't have a third stage.
Yes.
Well, that's true. Maybe it will someday. And he did the same thing with Pidgeotto. He didn't get a Pidgey, he got a Pidgeotto. That later evolved into Pidgeot, right before he gave it up. Alright, so the gang is moving ever closer to Goldenrod, and they are in another forest.
Or maybe the woods. Lost in the woods.
Can't help yourself, can you?
No, I can't.
So you know, it's a very unique situation for the gang. Then they spot a birdhouse of sorts and see a Noctowl land near it. Suddenly, a branch appears from nowhere on the trunk of the tree and chases the Noctowl away because it turns out there's a person hiding behind some kind of like blanket or something that blends him in with the tree. Like it looks like the trunk kind of folded over so that his hand could get out there.
Yeah.
Because he's not waiting for that Noctowl. Is basically what he's saying. And sure enough, another Noctowl arrives, and this one is yellow because it's shiny. Our first shiny Pokemon in the anime.
And it looks so freaking cool.
We have not yet found any shiny Pokemon in our game.
They have shiny Pokemon in Johto.
Yeah, which is why they showed up in the anime.
Just like they've got steel ones in Johto.
So, hopefully one of these days we'll find one. Which is another thing to encourage us to just walk around the grasses and headbutt trees longer.
But it's so boring.
I know. And we can only spend so much time because we have to get to the gym. And then if we have extra time, like we did when we got to Goldenrod, we'll just go back and... Anyway, this Pokemon is the one that this guy is looking for, and he tries to lure it in with some berries. But it doesn't work. Turns out this guy is named Dr. Wiseman, and I thought his voice sounded super familiar, and I was thinking... I mean, it had a little bit of a different accent to it from what I remember, but I'm like, it sounds just like that guy from the Mount Moon episode, Obsessed with the Clefairy. Which it is. And I think his name was like Seymour or something. He had like a whole thing with like poetry and everything too. Like he rhymed a lot. But when I looked it up, it turns out that both those voices are also the person that plays Meowth. So that was kind of fun. Anyway, Ash wants the shiny Noctowl. And so
surprise, surprise.
Yeah, right.
Totodile thief.
And thief. And so he goes for it, but then the Noctowl hypnotizes him, and so Ash tries to pick up Pikachu again, but it turns out he's picking up a rock. Pikachu's even like, what is Ash doing?
And like that, the rock or Pikachu was staring off into space. I'm like, oh no, they hypnotized Pikachu, but then like it showed him picking up a rock. I'm like, oh wait, they hypnotized Ash.
The Noctowl thinks it is hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny.
And not only do we get a shiny, but we also get a size difference in the Pokemon, because when they're explaining it, it turns out this thing is smaller than a normal Noctowl. But this isn't the first time we've seen size differences for Pokemon, because we also saw that when we first saw Ash's Krabby next to Gary's Krabby back at Oaks, and Gary's Krabby was much larger.
Cookie.
In fact, it was almost the size of a Kingler, probably. So, while the professor's talking about, like this Professor Wiseman, or Dr. Wiseman, or whatever his name is talking about wanting rare Pokemon, Misty claims to have a rare Pokemon.
And I'm like, oh yeah, she does. Togepi. Togepi is a rare Pokemon.
And she pulls out Psyduck.
I'm like, yeah, I can see her doing that.
And she claims he's rare, because she's like, well, what does this make this Psyduck rare? He can't swim. Which is true, he can't. Which is probably a weird thing for a Psyduck. So that doesn't go anywhere, of course. After sharing a meal, both the Doctor and Ash are both planning on getting the Noctowl. Wiseman totally dismisses Ash in his own arrogance, believing himself to be so smart.
I hate this Doctor. He is the worst.
He is kind of obnoxious with his arrogance and everything. As they discuss their plans, with Ash going to go the traditional way of like battling it and catching it, Wiseman is planning on setting a trap. But while they're discussing this, there's some people spying on them from up in the ceiling.
I wonder who.
It's Team Rocket.
Really?
And they, of course, plan to get this rare Pokemon for the boss, which this one would definitely be a rare Pokemon.
Of course.
I forget what the odds are of finding a shiny Pokemon, but they are...
It's probably like a bajillion to 0.
No, but pretty much.
See, that's why it's a bajillion to 0.
So then we cut to the outdoors where Wiseman begins his trap. What happens is a really complicated set of mechanisms, which then just reveal a mirror in the tree. Ropes get cut and gears are turning, all this jazz. The shiny Noctowl then hypnotizes itself, because of the mirror, and falls from the tree. On the way down, its eyes flash red once more.
Mm-hmm.
So then Wiseman goes to pick up the collapsed Noctowl, but he is just picking up a rock, because it hypnotized him on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Noctowl wobbles away, still under the influence of its own hypnosis. And here, Ash doesn't want to take advantage of it, but wants to help the Noctowl, thinking it is hurt. But then Noctowl snaps at Ash, thinking him a danger. The wind starts rushing in, and Team Rocket arrives inside a giant Noctowl bot.
So a busted bot?
Correct. Then Meowth mentions they are going to capture the Noctowl after the next commercial, and we get some intense looks and a commercial break. For the Who's the Pokemon segment part.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny that he even referenced it right before.
Yes.
So then Wiseman calls out Team Rocket for building large, complicated contraptions just to catch Pokemon instead of using normal methods. Didn't he just try that? And Team Rocket gives us an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble because we're on the prowl.
Make it double. We're in the Big Owl.
No dirt.
The Noctowl bot is, of course, insulated from electric attacks. And then also fire attacks as well, it seems. They got some special metal that they splurged for. Team Rocket uses a wind attack to push back the gang, and Ash's Totodile and Cyndaquil he called out. Wiseman uses the wind to catch Noctowl and run off. But then Team Rocket uses a mechanical arm and tosses the Doctor and grabs Noctowl. So Ash brings out his 2 grass Pokemon to snatch the Noctowl bot that is trying to fly away. Ash jumps up onto the arm that has the shiny Noctowl, but he's having trouble. Then we get a Psyduck sighting as he just happens to be standing there. We didn't see him pop out, but he's just there standing next to Misty, and she's like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But then she thinks he's trying to use his powers. And it seems like Psyduck is really trying, and she's encouraging him, and it's all awesome, and he fails. And it's so funny, because we get this whole thing like, oh, is this going to... It's not gonna be it. Ash manages to pry open the claw just enough, and he tells Noctowl to flee, which means he's not trying to catch it, he's just trying to help. So Noctowl doesn't flee, and it lands near Cyndaquil and Totodile instead and starts chatting with them. Apparently, this intelligent Pokemon has a plan, and after Cyndaquil burns a spot on the Noctowl bot for a while, then Totodile shoots cold water on it, causing the bot to start to crack, because the metal was heated and then cooled really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Then, with the crack, Pikachu zaps right inside, and sure enough, we get a busted bot, and Team Rocket is blasting off again! Ding! Wobbuffet! Shiny Noctowl challenges Ash to a battle then, and so he sends in Pikachu, and in the end, Ash catches himself a shiny Noctowl.
Which is super cool.
It is super cool. And our Who's That Pokemon is Entei, which is definitely in the movie.
Obviously leading up to the movie.
Although arguably not in the movie. So then our tally is Interesting Intro, Psyduck Sighting, Busted Bot, a new category of Shiny!
Woohoo!
And then, of course, we gotta catch 'em all, because Ash catches a shiny Noctowl. Alright, let's rate it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, so I'm first this time.
I guess so. It's a good one, so you better do something good with it. Not sappy ending good, but good.
So I really like this because of the shiny Pokemon. I thought the shiny Noctowl was great. Like, he has a fun personality. I think it's just hilarious that he's outsmarting everybody.
Yeah.
I really like the new bot thing that they had with the balloons were how they filled up with air or shot air out of or something. I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah, that was cool.
And the Noctowl thing, and then the meat, and then the metal that resisted heat and electricity and all that, and then Noctowl outsmarting that was all cool. However,
and it was just cool that it was a shiny Noctowl.
However, this episode also had Dr. Wiseman.
He sucked.
To be fair, though, he was okay with Ash battling. He's like, I already had my chance. I'm giving it up. He humbled himself at the end, so that was impressive. But I didn't like Dr. Wiseman most of the episode, and we had to deal with him. So that kind of brings it down a little bit.
Yeah, but he wasn't as in front.
But I do like that some of the Pokemon that Ash has caught throughout this have some really fun personalities. Chikorita's always flirting, has a crush on him. Flirting. Heracross is just so earnest and always eating sap and motivated by that, but also a good Pokemon. And then Cyndaquil with his sleepy demeanor and stuff, and just being cute and really good at dodging and then burning everything. He's just got a fun thing going. Totodile's super happy all the time, and now we got this really clever Noctowl.
It's funny because Totodile is just like my youngest brother. He's still a newborn, but he is all over the place, and I'm saying he's gonna jump before he learns how to walk.
Yeah.
He's just so crazy.
I fully agree that Totodile reminds me of Little Maltese. Where to put it, though? I don't think, I like the character. I like what happened. I don't think it beats Good Quill Hunting, because that was a really fun one where they caught Cyndaquil. The antics. It had an annoying character, too, but the antics in it were pretty fun.
And again, that annoying character wasn't as big in the episode.
Yeah. Charizard's Burning Ambitions. So I think it might go right between Good Quill Hunting and Charizard's Burning Ambition.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So now for our last episode we're covering today, Season 3, Episode 39, Forest Grumps, which is a play off of the title of a movie called Forrest Gump.
Or is it Wood Grumps? Lost in the woods.
Wow. Alright, so, in Japanese it is Ringuma de Dokkiri, or Ringuma's Startling, which means that Ringuma is the Japanese name of Ursa Ring. What were you going to say?
I said Entei because Entei was Who's That Pokemon last time, and it's featuring that Entei today.
And here's the thing, is that Ursa is bear. Ursa Major and Ursa Minor are the Big Dipper and Little Dipper, because they're supposed to be bears, not just a dipper.
That makes so much sense why it's Ursa Luna, Ursa Ring, Ursa...
And Teddy Ursa.
Teddy.
And, on top of that, so Ring, because they have the rings. I think there's another aspect to it, but whatever. But Ringuma, I'm pretty sure, is because they're meshing it with Kuma, which is Japanese for bear. So Ring Bear, or Ring Bearer. Ha ha! I don't know if they're going for the whole ring bearer thing, but that's funny anyway. Anyway, there's a lot going on there. So, the gang stops by some water in another forest to relax for a bit. They all throw their Pokeballs to release all their Pokemon. And I have to say, it was awesome to see that most of Ash's were regular Pokeballs, but then the Lure Ball was in there too, since Totodile is in that one. And Brock had his Fastball amidst his regular Pokeballs, which is where Pineco comes out.
So does Misty still have a Lure Ball?
That's a good question, actually. So I just thought it was fun that they put in these details.
Yes.
And then, when all of the Pokemon start appearing, and they start showing them show up or whatever, because they have that glow silhouette thing first, and then they come into clear vision.
Yeah.
You know? And when Noctowl comes out, he had the sparkles around him.
Yeah, we went through it, and you had to rewind it like 3 times to finally see it.
I kept missing it because other kids were talking to me and distracting me right before we got to it, and the first time I missed it because I was taking notes.
It was like, oh, did it sparkle? And you're like, oh, let me see it. And I think the second time you went back to taking notes or something. I'm like, oh.
I was probably finishing the notes I was on.
And then you went back a third time, and maybe even a fourth because someone interrupted you.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So anyway, they had the sparkle feature, which is what happens in at least Pokemon Go and some other ones, and I believe it probably does it in the Gold and Silver game then too, since they added that detail in the anime. So yeah, that was super cool. And then everyone is relaxing and enjoying the piece, and then a net covers many of the Pokemon, and then the Meowth balloon starts to rise from the trees, and we already get an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble because it's our greatest plan yet.
Make it double. All it took was a net. Despite being split up, the net somehow gets all of the Pokemon, because they weren't all in the same spot.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then Team Rocket's getting away, but then a beam of light fires out from the trees, and bam, the balloon is hit and falls, freeing the others. They realize it was Ursaring as a bunch show up, and they start firing more, I'm guessing, hyper beams?
Yeah, probably.
At everyone, and so the group says, "Return, everybody!" And all the Pokemon zap back.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone flees, and finally they're all safe. Ash and Brock are happy to have their Pokemon back, and ask Misty how she's doing, and then the screen pans over, only Misty isn't there. Instead it is Jessie! And then the opposite happens for James and Meowth, and they look over at Jessie, only to find they are with Misty!
It was very funny.
Also fun because they're the same voice actress. Which would have worked for Brock and James too, but Misty and Jessie also have the red hair and also have kind of temper, which we see some of. So then Jessie decides to battle Ash and Brock despite being outnumbered, but then Ursaring pop out of the bushes and they quit the fight and all run off together. Same thing happens with James and Meowth trying to attack Misty as well. Then Jessie decides they need a temporary truce while they try to find their companions and get out. Misty and the other group also suggest working together, and James agrees, but doesn't want Misty to tell Jessie.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, thinking about the Poliwag episode. Jessie learns that Ash and Brock obviously really care about Misty, and Jessie wonders if her partners are worried about her. And it turns out that James and Meowth aren't worried about Jessie because she's tough, and James would actually be more worried for the Ursaring if they met Jessie.
Yeah, it's fair.
Right. Ash's group sets up camp and Brock makes delicious food, and Jessie is surprised they eat so well as Team Rocket doesn't. But she can't admit that to the gang. Meanwhile, Misty has a sandwich that Brock made for her because he always makes sandwiches for the gang to take with them. And she ends up sharing some of it with James and Meowth, who were like drooling over themselves. Because they had both shared like a bite of a cookie.
Yeah.
Then, after eating, Meowth leads that group into a cave to sleep inside because being out in the open is dangerous.
Well, they did like some weird thing with their hands to decide who got to lead the group.
Right, there was a few times that they were doing that for making decisions, and Meowth kept having the odd finger, so he kept winning because the other two would always match or whatever. However, I looked up some stuff, and it's apparently in the original Japanese version they do play rock paper scissors. I'm not sure why they changed it.
I think it's better to play rock paper scissors.
Yeah, that means that James and Misty, because I think they both showed like a 4, they must have been doing paper. And the second time I think they both do a 2, which would have been scissors. He must have done scissors the first time.
With the odd finger though, I'm like, he obviously is gonna do 3 because he's like, look, I've got the finger again. I'm like,
yeah, I'm wondering with him if they even like purposely just copied the image we got the first time to use again the next couple times or whatever. So instead of using the original animation, I'm wondering if they just copied the same animation from each time they do the fingers for Meowth's finger. Because they show it separately, don't they? Or do they show them all together? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's what I've read. It might not be true. I don't know. So Meowth leads that group into a cave to sleep because being out in the open is dangerous. But it turns out it's an Ursaring cave, and they all chase down James, Misty, and Meowth. Then Brock and them end up inside a cave, and it's hard to tell because when the Ursaring all pop out of the bushes and scare Brock and Jesse and Ash away, and when they all pop out and scare James and them away, the animations, like for the bushes and the Ursaring, are like identical. Like everything's identical except for the main characters, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a few scenes like that in this episode where they just reuse the art. And so it's hard to say if they were just reusing art here again, because Jesse comes out of the cave at one point. It looks just like the cave that James and everybody ran into and then ran out because the Ursaring came after them.
Yeah.
But if it's not because they're just reusing art, or if it's because, like, I like to believe anyway, even if it's not true, basically what happened is they went into the cave, got chased out by the Ursaring, and then Brock and them found the same cave and got to sleep in it because there were no more Ursaring in it. Mm-hmm. And, like, they give Jessie a blanket and stuff, too, I think, to sleep with. And so Jessie starts wondering what she's been doing with her life. And Jessie has a flashback to when she was a child, and her mom or someone is asking her what she wants to be when she grows up. And doctor was one of the things she said, which I thought was cool because it lines up with her trying to go to nursing school.
Yeah, it was like, they better have nurse or doctor or something.
Yeah. So that was nifty. But she also wants to be an actress and a trainer, or some of the things she wanted. But yeah, what's really great is that Jessie is young in this spot, so the voice actress has to sound younger for Jessie. And you can definitely hear Misty's voice then. Because she sounds a lot like Misty at that point.
Well, I mean, she's got to do a younger voice.
Misty's younger, so...
Yeah.
Yep. Meowth and James lead the group down a dark cliff to hide from Ursaring. But then they find out that they're on a littler cliff partway down and didn't actually reach the bottom. And it's too dark and, like, misty or something to see farther down.
Misty.
Yeah. And it seemed obvious where this joke was going. Mm-hmm. That the ground would just be a couple feet below. Which does turn out to be true, but we don't learn that till later.
Till the morning.
Yep. So Meowth plans to steal Misty's Pokemon because after she's been a super bossy redhead, just like Jessie, and she gave herself a lot more space on the cliff to sleep than James and Meowth.
Yeah, she drew a line.
Yeah, because they didn't need as much space because of their lack of brains. But then they realize that they have nowhere to sneak off to, so they don't steal anything. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Jessie sneaks over and steals Pikachu from Ash inside the cave while they're all sleeping. But when she gets outside, she runs into an Ursaring, and so she flees right back into the cave. So later on, when they're walking, she looks exhausted because she didn't get any sleep.
Yep.
Ash's group then runs into another Ursaring, and they decide to try to take it out since there's only one. Because they're like, well, we can't take on all of them, but we could probably take them one at a time.
Yeah.
But the battle goes on long enough, and it calls it out to others. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, with Misty's group in the morning, they find out, like, Meowth starts to say something about if they had known that the ground was right there, they would have taken her Pokemon. And she's like, you were going to take my Pokemon? Oh, out for a walk in the moonlight. Which I thought was funny. Yeah. But then they also end up running into some Ursaring. And so they all are running from the Ursaring that are chasing them, and they end up meeting up and run together away from Ursaring, and they end up on a rickety bridge. And we all knew what was going to come this time.
Broken bridge.
And sure enough, the wood starts splintering and they keep falling, and then to add to it all, the Ursaring cut the ropes themselves, sending the bridge collapsing. Everyone is hanging on to another person, or except for Ash, who's hanging onto the actual bridge. But the rest are like hanging off of him and each other.
Hang on to the bridge, people. Ash can't hold all your weight. Jeez.
Yeah. And so then they all decide to throw up some Pokemon to try and help them with, like, I think they start with the grass ones because they can use the vine whips and stuff to pull them up. Mm-hmm. And so James tosses Victory Bell, but it ends up eating James while he's hanging off instead in another distracted Pokemon moment. But then he's able to get after him, and Victory Bell does join the rest on top of the cliff.
Yeah.
And all the Pokemon work to get everybody up, including like an Onix and all that stuff. And everyone is so excited to have survived and Brock is like holding Meowth, James and Misty are hugging, and even the opposing Pokemon are like shaking vines and such.
I mean, Pokemon are allowed to like each other. It's just their trainers that make them
Right.
different.
Yeah, the Pokemon, like Meowth, Ekans, and Coughing teamed up with Pikachu and Squirtle and Bulbasaur and Charmander one time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Meowth was a little resistant to it, but the others weren't. But it was just cool that they were all like, "Oh, this is great," and then Jessie ruins it all because she's like, "Wait a second."
Yeah.
And then this leads to a hilarious moment because she's like, "All right, the truce can be over," and so they all like jump back to opposite sides of the part that they're on to face off each other and battle, but then Misty has to yell at Psyduck, who's on the wrong side. He's like, "You're supposed to be over here, you idiot."
Yeah.
And I thought it was so great.
That was hilarious.
And then a battle ensues, and Togepi starts doing its little finger waggles for a metronome. It keeps cutting back to Togepi doing it while chaos is going and battling and fighting is going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, there's a big explosion of like an earthquake or something, and Team Rocket is sent blasting off again. Ding, ding, Wobbuffet. Misty looks to either side of her, where Togepi is on one side and Psyduck is on the other, and Misty wonders if maybe Psyduck did something, but she thinks it must have possibly and probably been Togepi again.
Well, she's known that Togepi could do Metrodome before.
Yes. Then the gang find a sign for the bridge on their side, and they're like, "Oh, we're not supposed to go in there because it's Ursa Ring mating season." And that's why they were all so cranky. And unfortunately for Team Rocket, after they blasted off, guess where they landed?
Right back in the middle of it.
Back in the middle of it. And our Who's That Pokemon is Noctowl. Last week's episode. Then our tally here is an interesting intro, broken bridge, a distracted Pokemon, and a team-up Rocket, because they all had truces with each other, even with some trying to steal a little bit. They still worked together to get out of it, and they especially worked together to get off the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
So, definitely a team-up Rocket moment, which was really fun. I always love those. So now we need to rank it.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. And I do like some Team Up Rocket. What about right below Snubble Snobbery?
Which puts us over Grin to Win, which is the Sunflower episode where Snubble shows back up.
Ooh, I like that one.
Right?
Below Grin. I don't think Snubble Snobbery should be that high. Because I think it's above Snubble Snobbery, but I don't think it's above...
Oh, you said you wanted above Snubble Snobbery. I thought you said below.
Maybe I did, I don't remember. But I think it should be above Snubble Snobbery, but below Grin to Win. How's that work?
It doesn't, so...
Well, it should be in that realm somewhere. Now, what do you think?
I'd put it right under... Well, actually, I did really like them all teaming up and talking to each other, though. That was really cool. So maybe it is better than Grin to Win, but it's not better than the Totodile episodes.
So maybe right above Snubble Snobbery?
Yeah, I think so. Well, that's why I look at some of the episodes right below and above, too, of the ones we're talking about, because that helps solidify a little bit. All right, so with that, let us go over our tallies and episode rankings. So, for our tally counter, I did go back and try to make sure everything is accurate from what we've said in the past by re-listening to what we've talked about, plus, counting things properly from the forms that I've filled out. So, it should be pretty accurate at this point. Again, if there's things you think we should change, go ahead and let us know. But, currently we are at Babysitting Brock, 24.
Holy cow.
Big Brother Pikachu, 1. Broken Bridges, 4. Busted Bots, 12. Catching Catchphrases, 10. Distracted Pokemon, 35.
Oh my goodness, it's almost as many episodes.
Yup. Entertaining Exits, 2. Evolutions, 1. Friendly Fire, 11. Gotta Catch 'em All, 8. Gotta Give 'em Up, 3. Interesting Intro, 36.
Oh my god.
Irritating Interruptions, 7. Jumpin' Jigglypuff, 5. Modified Motto is 6. One Track Ash is 3. Psyduck Sighting, 6. Recurring Rivals, 1. Rockin' Reunions, 3. Shiny, 1. Team Up Rocket, 3. Togepi Trouble, 2. We're Off Again, 11. And Vanity Vanity is at 4.
We got like half the Vanity this time.
Yes, we did. And then our episode rankings are... The lowest one on our list is still Roll On, Pokemon. Then we have A Bout with Sprout, For Crying Out Loud, The Superhero Secret, Flower Power, The Little Bighorn, Hour of the Hound Hour, Foul Weather Friends, The Whistle Stop, No Big Whoop, Hot Matches, Don't Touch That Dial, A Shadow of a Drought, Going Apricorn, Getting the Bugs Out, Grin to Win, Snubble, Snobbery, and then Forest Grump, Love Totodile Style, The Totodile Duel, and then Tanks a Lot, Chikorita's Big Upset, The Firing Squad, Fighting Flyer with Fire, Charizard's Burning Ambitions, Foul Play, Good Quill Hunting, Wired for Battle, Tunnel Vision, Once in a Blue Moon, Mild and Woolly, A Far-Fetched Tale, Ignorance is Blissey, The Chikorita Rescue. Then our top 5 are Tricks of the Trade, Illusion Confusion, Spinnerack Attack, Double Trouble Header, and A Sappy Ending. And that is almost complete. We will have 2 more episodes to rank, and then we will be done with Johto Journeys and be moving on to a new season. But before all that can happen, our next episode will be covering Pokemon the Movie 3, Spell of the Unknown, Entei! Along with the short that goes before it, Pikachu and Pichu! And then after that, then we will have an episode that covers the last 2 episodes of Johto Journeys and the first 2 episodes of, I think it's Johto Champions, I think is what it's called. For the, what is that season? That would be season 4. And then we'll be covering 2 chapters of the manga in that episode as well. And that will catch us all the way up to Goldenrod City. And so then after that, it'll be time for some more gold and silver crystal coverage as we try to head to the 4th gym. So, with that, I think it is now time for Pokemon cards.
Woohoo!
I am doing Scarlet and Violet Stellar Crown with a Lapras on the front that's terastallized.
And I'm doing Scarlet and Violet Temporal Forces with a Water Dog.
Oh, Suicune?
Yeah, with a weird Suicune on the front.
Nice. Smells so good. Alright, so I will go first. And I like this guy. My first one is Pancham, fighting type. It's a little panda guy.
Oh yeah.
It chooses a Pangoro as its master and then imitates its master's action. This is how it learns to battle and hunt for prey. Because Pangoro is its evolution.
Oh yeah.
So it chooses one to be its its master. So that makes me curious. Which came first? The Pangoro or the Pancham? Kind of like the chicken and the egg. Then we have Duraludon, steel type or metal type. Its metal body is durable but prone to retaining heat. It vents this heat from the slits in its tail. I've seen this Pokemon a few times, usually Dynamaxing versions in Sword and Shield. I got a Purugly. Evolves from Glameow. Colorless type. It would claim another Pokemon's nest as its own if it finds a nest sufficiently comfortable.
Okay. Goldilocks.
And then we got Tortuga. Evolves from Antique Cover Fossil. It's a water type. This Pokemon inhabited ancient seas. Although it can only crawl, it still comes up onto land in search of prey. Ooh, I like this Pokemon. I don't know what it is about him, but I like him. Vikavolt evolves from Charjabug, which evolves from Grubbin. Electric type, or lightning type. When carrying a Charjabug, Vikavolt can receive electricity from it and then rapidly fire powerful electromagnetic beams from its large jaws. So it gets a charge from the Charjabug, its previous evolution. Because the Charjabug kind of looks like a battery.
It's funny.
That is kind of funny. Ooh, Azumarill!
Azumarill!
Perfect for this episode.
Yeah, no joke.
Evolves from Meryl, water type. Its long ears are superb sensors. It can distinguish the movement of living things on riverbeds. Dubwool evolves from Wooloo. Colorless, has an ability called Soft Wool. This Pokemon takes 30 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance. Weave a carpet from its springy wool and you end up with something closer to a trampoline. You'll start to bounce the moment you set foot on it. Alright, I got a reverse holo of Fido, Psychic. The yeast in Fido's breath is useful for cooking, so this Pokemon has been protected by people since long ago.
Huh.
Another reverse holo of Varoom, Metal type. The steel section is Varoom's actual body. This Pokemon clings to rocks and converts the minerals within into energy to fuel its activities.
Cool.
And then my rare card is like a reverse holo or something, or I don't know. It's Gilly of Dreadnought. Evolves from Choodle. Water type. Ability. Impervious Shell. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon if that damage is 200 or more. So you can't just blast it with like a 250 or 300 damage or something. You have to like get just under 200 and you can kill it right away because he has 140 health. Mm-hmm. Although if you get him, like if you have something that gives him extra HP, I could see that being a problem too. Dreadnought lurks along the shoreline. When prey comes to drink water, Dreadnought stretches its neck out and chomps down on them.
Oh my.
And then I have a dark energy.
That's cool. My first Pokemon is Grubbin, grass type.
Hey! Now we just need the Charge Bug in the middle.
Yep.
Sorry, I got excited.
No, I think it's cool. Its natural enemies, like Rookidee, may flee rather than risk getting caught in its large mandibles that can snap thick tree branches. Medicham evolves from Meditite, fighting type. It elegantly avoids attacks with dance-like steps, then launches a devastating blow in the same motion.
Cool.
Tranquil evolves from Pidove, normal type. It can fly moderately quickly. No matter how far it travels, it can always find its way back to its master and its nest. Mr. Mime!
Mr. Mime.
Psychic type. The broadness of its hands may be no coincidence. Many scientists believe its palms became enlarged specifically for pantomiming. Sandy Shocks.
Ooh, I like Sandy Shocks.
Ancient. It's like the Magnemite.
The Magneton, yeah.
No records exist of this Pokemon being caught. Data is lacking, but the Pokemon traits match up with a creature shown in an expansional journal. Beheeyum evolves from Algium. Psychic. Whenever a Beheeyum visits a farm, a Duel mysteriously appears. Rapidash evolves from Ponyta, fire type. This Pokemon can be seen galloping through fields at speeds up to 150 miles per hour. Its fiery mane fluttering in the wind. Roly-Poly, fighting type. It's one of my reverse holos. On sunny days, Roly-Poly will come out onto grassy plains and roll around. Then it will eat the grass that gets tangled in its wheel-like leg. Sawsbuck evolves from Deerling, grass type. It's also one of my reverse holos. Ability, changing seasons. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a stadium card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Sawsbuck in their autumn form are known for having very short tempers. The males fight each other insensibly. This is cool. My rare is Koraidon, ancient dragon type.
Nice.
This seems to be the winged king mentioned in an old expedition journal. It was said to have split the land with its bare fists. Look at that. Oh, and then I also got a basic dark energy.
Yeah, that Koraidon is really cool looking. Anyway, that is our episode. Routes Through Pokemon is a Hunterfield Institute production. You can catch us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, other podcast platforms. We are also on YouTube at the Hunterfield Institute channel. So you can go ahead and check us out there too. And wherever you find us, please like, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all that stuff. And if you'd like to reach out and get a hold of us more in-depthly or have suggestions for the show or anything of the sort, you can go ahead and email us at hunterfieldmanor@gmail.com. I also post on X at HunterfieldInns. That's HUNTERFIELDINS. We have a Facebook group for Routes Through Pokemon. And you can also find me on Instagram at Kinetic, KINETIC_card. And we post on all of those somewhat regularly. And whenever we do our movie watch-throughs, I also post on X throughout our watching, so we can watch along, and if you want to see our thoughts right away, there they are. And again, next episode, we will be covering the third Pokemon movie, the Spell of the Unknown Entei, along with the short Pikachu and Pichu, and right after that episode, we will be covering the final 2 episodes of Johto Journeys, and the first 2 episodes of, I think Johto Champions is what it's called, where Ash takes on the Goldenrod City Gym leader. Thank you all so much for listening to our show. We enjoy having you here, and we're enjoying our journey through Pokemon, and we will catch you on the next route.
Bye-bye.
Sayonara!
Chum.
Part 21. Refreshed. Violet stretched out her arms as far as they could go, keeping her eyes shut to block out the sunlight a little longer. Finally, she pulled herself up and started getting ready for the day. When she pulled on her coat, her fingers lingered on the shiny new boulder badge pinned there, and she thought back to yesterday's battle. The item told her that she had what it took to be a trainer. She smiled, and then, grabbing the rest of her gear, she left the room and headed to the lobby of the Pokemon Center. At the counter, she passed over her claim ticket, and someone headed into the back to acquire her rested and restored Pokemon. While she waited, there was a familiar ding from the front door opening as someone either entered or left. A tray of 4 Pokeballs were brought out and placed in front of Violet. There they were, the 4 Pokemon she was currently traveling with. V, Lucky, Katana, her Spearow, and of course, Mizu. But, with the exception of Spur, she had not caught any of those Pokemon. She had grown up with V, but it belonged to her father, and Lucky the Zubat was her father's as well after meeting in Mount Moon. And her horsey, Mizu, was the one she chose out of her options back at the Cerulean City Gym. Of course, she had caught one other, but thanks to some girl with pink hair, a Bellsprout, and a couple of Pokemon she had never seen before, that Clefairy she caught was lost, along with her father. That is why the badge was so important, because that proved that she could train and battle with Pokemon. Sure, she had beaten a couple other kids, but that was nothing against a gym leader. However, that was just the beginning. There were still 7 badges to go to earn a right to face against the greatest Pokemon trainers in Kanto, the Elite Four, which meant she needed to get going, especially if she wanted to catch up to the girl with the pink hair who had managed to beat her to the Boulder Badge. After securing her Pokemon, Violet started for the door. Wait, is that? It is! What a small world. How are you, Violet? Hearing her name, Violet looked around and then found the man who had helped her deal with a pushy salesman at the last Pokemon Center.
Oh, hi. I'm good.
You don't sound sure.
Sorry, I was just surprised.
Of course. Have you faced the gym yet? Oh, well, of course you have. The badge is right there on your jacket. Violet looked at the jacket as if to check if it was still there, but it was more for something to do as she didn't know what to say. Way to go. You're really on your way now. Blushing a little, Violet nodded.
Yeah, I guess I am.
So which gym is next on your path? Going back through Mount Moon to Cerulean? Or is it the Viridian gym? Violet hadn't actually thought about it. She had determined to get going to the next badge, but, well, which one? Was she ready to take on Misty back home? Unlike Brock's Pokemon, Violet didn't have any Pokemon that were particularly good matchups against Misty.
I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet.
The man smiled. Sure, that makes sense. You want to be strategic about it, of course. Plan your moves carefully. You're a smart girl. Of course, That wasn't at all what she had thought, but she appreciated the compliment and wasn't about to correct the man. You want a little bit of advice?
Sure.
Well, I've heard talk that there are some Pikachu to the south in Viridian Forest. If you manage to find one of those, it could help against Misty. Nodding, Violet liked the idea of having an electric Pokemon to help her win. But that meant backtracking and it would take longer, and that was even if she was lucky enough to find one. On the other hand, it was on the way to the Viridian City Gym, so she could try and find a Pikachu on the way there. The problem was she didn't know much about that gym. It didn't seem many did. And what she had read and heard was that, being so close to the path to Victory Road, it was the toughest gym.
A Pikachu would be handy, but I think I might just make my way back through Mount Moon and see what I catch on the way.
The man shrugged and offered another smile. Of course. After all, it is your journey, not mine. Besides, you seem like a good trainer. I bet you have no problem at all. Violet smiled at that.
Thanks, mister.
You can call me Shiro.
Thank you, Shido.
Any time. Violet left the building and started toward the east exit out of Pewter City. There were a few fluffy clouds floating in the sky, and the sun was shining brightly. It was going to be a good walk back to Mount Moon, and a good time to try and catch some more Pokemon. To be continued.